Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have big news in the world of professional wrestling. We're talking about one of the most legendary figures in the sport, Sting, and what his future holds with AEW. And taking center stage in that discussion, the man calling the shots, Tony Khan, president of AEW. At the recent WrestleDream press scrum, Khan laid out some compelling statements about Sting's status, his role in the family, and just how much AEW values this icon. So buckle in, because we're going in deep, background, quotes, what this could mean moving forward, and how fans should read between the lines. Let's get started. Visuals. Early Sting career, WCW clips, then later AEW appearances, his bat, his signature look. Sting, real name Steve Borden, has had a storied, multi-decade career. From the late 1980s days in NWA WCW, through his impactful runs in Wu's NWO era, to TNA, and later the surprising return and fresh chapter in AEW. His character evolved, his legacy grew, and his connection with fans became textbook legendary. His presence in AEW isn't just a nostalgic nod, it's a living link between eras. He brings gravitas, he brings storytelling, and yes, even at an age where most have long retired, he still matters. And that's why when Tony Khan says, Sting is still a huge part of AEW, part of the family, it carries weight. Khan emphasized, we did get to see him in Philadelphia, he visited us in Philadelphia. We did something off-screen with Sting. So the key takeaway, Sting is more than just a cameo or a one-off return, AEW intends to keep him connected, be it on-screen or backstage. Visuals. The main event at WrestleDream, Sting intervening in a match, crowd reaction. At the most recent AEW pay-per-view, WrestleDream, we saw the shock of the night. Sting appeared to aid his protege Darby Allin in his I Quit match against Jon Moxley. The visuals were visceral, tables, weapons, storytelling at its wildest. And then Sting emerges, with his baseball bat, to shift the momentum. In the post-show media scrum, Tony Khan addressed the moment. He said that Sting was still part of AEW, and a big part of the family. Importantly, Khan remarked that he had spoken to Sting about a special one-off return when needed, and that the bond between Sting and Darby Allin is really special, there is no show business at all to it. It's a really authentic thing. In other words, this wasn't purely a nostalgic moment. It was woven into the narrative of Allin's journey and AEW's broader storytelling. Visuals. Press scrum snippets, captions of quotes, close-ups of Khan, Sting backstage. Let's hone in on what was actually said, because the phrasing from Khan matters. Wrestling isn't just physical action, it's what's said and what's implied. Sting's still a huge part of AEW and he's still part of the family. He was always open to returning to AEW, especially if Darby ever needed anything. The connection between those two is really special. It's a really authentic thing. If Darby ever needs anything, we know we can depend on Sting. Now, notice what Khan doesn't say. He doesn't commit to regular in-ring returns, doesn't lock in long-term storylines, and doesn't guarantee weekly television appearances. He uses qualifiers like special one-off return when needed, and emphasizes the bond with Allin. That phrasing suggests that while Sting remains affiliated, his involvement will be selective, meaningful and probably sparing. For AEW, that's a smart move. You preserve Sting's legend, you prevent overusage, and you keep his appearances special. Visuals. AEW roster near Sting era, younger talent, crowd reaction to legends versus new stars. Why does AEW care so much about keeping Sting involved? Here are some key reasons. 1. Credibility and legacy. Having a true icon like Sting attached to the brand elevates AEW's status. It says, we respect the lineage of pro wrestling. We don't dismiss the past. By telling fans that Sting is part of the family, AEW aligns itself with legitimacy and tradition. 2. Mentorship and storytelling. The bond between Sting and Darby Allin is central here. Allin is one of the younger stars with the look, the charisma, and the momentum. Pairing him, even subtly, with Sting lends him an stamp of approval. AEW can build storylines around that mentorship, allowing Allin to evolve while the veteran remains in the background, guiding. 3. Business and marketing value. Even if Sting isn't wrestling full-time, his presence boosts multiple facets: ticket sales for special appearances, merchandising, brand recognition, social media buzz. Khan knows this. He referenced how Sting's final run was incredible. 4. Preserving the impact of returns. When a legend appears too often, the moment loses its magic. By keeping Sting's involvement selective, AEW ensures that each time he shows up, the crowd reacts, the TV numbers spike, and the narrative moment becomes memorable, not just another appearance. In essence, Tony Khan is investing in Sting's value by keeping him just enough, on brand, and integrated into meaningful story arcs. Visuals. Storyboard possibilities. Sting in non-wrestling role, surprise appearances, last-minute saves, backstage mentor. Based on what Khan has said, here are plausible scenarios for Sting's future in AEW. Scenario A. Occasional on-screen appearances and interferences. Sting shows up at major pay-per-views or high-stakes episodes of Dynamite Collision. Maybe not wrestling full matches, but intervening in angles, saving allies, appearing in segments. This matches Khan's phrasing. Special one-off return when needed. Scenario B. Non-wrestling role, mentorship ambassador. Sting might transition to a purely non-wrestling role, backstage segments, media appearances, mentoring younger talent, especially Allin. This preserves his legend but reduces injury risk and keeps the door open for surprise involvement. Scenario C. Final match or farewell run. There could be a final in-ring performance, perhaps at a marquee event, where Sting wrestles one last time. But given his age and past injury history, this is less likely to become a recurring role. If AEW wants to build a legacy moment, this is a possibility. Scenario D. Merchandise brand partnership only. Less glamorous from a TV perspective, but Sting's name and likeness could continue to generate revenue via merchandise, licensing, and appearances outside of wrestling media, conventions. Khan hinted at the idea when discussing how Sting's career and AEW's respect for him made the most incredible final run possible. Which scenario is most likely? Based on Khan's wording and AEW's current creative direction, scenario A or B seem most probable. Sting stays connected, appears occasionally for big moments, perhaps mentors or aligns with Allin, but doesn't become a weekly fixture. Visuals. Darby Allin in action, Sting with Allin, split screen old versus new. One of the most interesting threads here is what this means for Darby Allin. The bond between Allin and Sting isn't just storyline, Khan described it as really authentic. For Allin, that means enhanced credibility by association with Sting, opportunities for storytelling where the veteran steps in at key moments to help him. Growth potential. Allin might graduate into bigger roles while still maintaining that connection to Sting's legacy. For younger talent across AEW, Sting's presence serves as a model: respect the past, build for the future. It provides a mentor figure, even if not explicitly on screen. Knowing that the company values legends boosts morale and sense of company culture. It also sends a message that AEW is committed to bridging generations, older stars and younger stars working together. Visuals. Social media reactions, fan chants, interviews with industry pundits. Naturally, fans and industry observers reacted immediately to Khan's comments. Many were relieved to hear Sting is still part of the family. Some feared AEW might move on entirely from legends and focus only on new talent. Some speculate, will we see Sting wrestle again? Others hope for surprise appearances. Others caution, Sting's age and past injuries mean AEW has to keep him safe and not overuse him. They note this as a smart business move by AEW, leveraging legacy while protecting the asset. Some compare to other promotions where legends were overused and burned out, diluting their impact. AEW seems to be learning from that. Some raise questions. Will Sting's role diminish over time? What happens when even surprise appearances become predictable? At the end of the day, the consensus is, AEW and Tony Khan are playing it smart with Sting. They're leveraging his star power but doing so with restraint. That often leads to more meaningful moments than constant appearances. Visuals. Injury graphics, behind-the-scenes injury reels, risk of legacy damage. Even with all the positives, there are risks in continuing to involve Sting. Injury, physical risk. At his age, even non-wrestling segments carry risks. A botched spot could damage the legacy. AEW must manage this carefully. Overexposure. If Sting pops up too often, what should be a special moment becomes routine. That reduces fan excitement. The key is rarity. Creative misuse. If his appearances don't match the legacy he commands, for example, being used poorly in storyline, it could backfire. AEW has to ensure his segments are high quality, meaningful, and aligned with the tone his career deserves. Expectation versus reality. Because Khan has publicly spoken about Sting's future, fans may expect big appearances or matches. If these don't materialize as often or as visibly as expected, there could be backlash or disappointment. Section 9. What fans should watch for 28/00/30/00. Visuals. Calendar of AEW events, subtle hints in promos, social media breadcrumbing by AEW. If you're a fan wondering when and how Sting will next appear in AEW, here are signals to keep your eyes on. Major pay-per-view events and anniversaries of AEW or Sting's milestones. These are likely spots for his involvement. Media scrums, press conferences where Tony Khan speaks. Khan has already signaled Sting is still part of the family. Storylines involving Darby Allin, because the connection between Allin and Sting is explicitly mentioned by Khan. Backstage segments or surprises during Dynamite Collision where Sting appears unannounced, these generate the biggest buzz. Merchandise or branding drops related to Sting. If AEW leans into licensing or ambassador roles, Sting's presence might evolve in new ways beyond just the ring. Section 10. Final thoughts and what this means for AEW's future. 30/00/32/00. Visuals. Montage of Sting's career highs, AEW roster, future stars emerging. Let's pull it all together. Tony Khan's message was clear and well measured. Sting remains a key piece of the AEW puzzle. He didn't promise weekly appearances. He didn't promise full-time in-ring returns. But he did promise respect, affiliation, access, and a place in the company's story. For AEW, this is both smart storytelling and smart business. They've created a blueprint. Use legends as part of the brand, but don't burn them out. Let their appearances mean something. Let them elevate younger talent. Let the legacy stay intact. For fans, this means, don't expect Sting every week, but when he shows up, it will matter. When he steps into the ring or appears unexpectedly, it will be a moment. And that's the beauty of it. Finally, for the wrestling industry, this could set a trend. Instead of legends being used up, they can operate in strategic, impactful ways. AEW may well be showing how to handle legacy talent for the 21st century era. Visuals. Crowd cheering Sting, AEW logo fade out, subscribe prompt. Narrator. That wraps our deep dive into Tony Khan's comments on Sting's future with AEW. What do you think? Will Sting appear again? Will he wrestle one more time? Or will he move exclusively into a mentor/ambassador role? Drop your takes in the comments below. This channel always wants to hear your opinion. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video when we break down the latest in AEW and pro wrestling. Until next time, thanks for watching, and keep the fight alive.